It's time to pull up a stool and grab your spot at the bar. The stadiums are dark, the scoreboards are off, and the final whistle has long since blown. But in here, the lights stay on. Welcome to the ETB Lounge on the Empty the Bench Network. This is your official post-game nightcap, where we break down the biggest hits, pour one out for the heartbreaks, and dive into the stories that linger long after the clock hits zero. Whether you're here for sharp analysis or one last round of sports talk with the best fans in the game, you've come to the right place. The games are over, and the conversation is just getting started.
I'm not Callan.
Oh, you're not?
No. Do I look like Callan McClure to you?
That would be scary.
I might not be Callan, but you know what? I have inherited Callan's ability to do monologues. So 24 hours after celebrating the 250th anniversary of the United States Declaration of Independence, we're witnessing a Sunday Night Mayhem across the globe. A total structural meltdown that has completely upended the largest sporting event on Earth. In a historic, precedent-shattering decision, FIFA has invoked Article 27 to completely freeze U.S. star Folarin Balogun's, easy for me to say, red card suspension, making him instantly eligible for tomorrow's round of 16 clash against Belgium. But the real firestorm isn't on the pitch, it's the explosive geopolitical fallout. Reports are tearing through the wire that the Trump administration directly lobbied FIFA President Gianni Infantino for the reversal, leaving the Royal Belgian Football Association absolutely furious and the integrity of the World Cup hanging by a thread. Welcome to the ETB Lounge on the Empty the Bench Network. I'm Tom Albano, sitting in for Callan McClure tonight, and the bar is fully stocked with madness, drama, and a whole lot of alcohol to drown your sorrows in. Spoiler alert, a little bit of a swerve, it's actually non-alcoholic drinks. The East Coast of the United States has been undergoing one of the most brutal heat waves ever, but the flames are not dying down anytime soon in the sports landscape. If a global soccer scandal wasn't enough to make you order a double, the NBA completely shattered league parity right before airtime. In a staggering landscaping shifting blockbuster, the Boston Celtics have traded multi-time All-Star Jaylen Brown directly to their bitter divisional rival, the Philadelphia 76ers. The strict boundaries of the new luxury tax second apron have forced Boston to split up its core, while Philly has pushed every single chip into the center of the table, pairing Brown with Joel Embiid to build a brand new powerhouse in the Eastern Conference, or so they say. And the wreckage doesn't stop there. Over on the dime, the full American National League MLB All-Star rosters have officially dropped, igniting a wave of intense debate over a handful of elite statistical snubs that deserve an absolute investigation. Meanwhile, the fallout from that explosive bench-clearing brawl between the Nationals and Red Sox has league executives handing down suspensions, permanently fracturing both active rosters as they head toward the break. On the grass courts of London, the entire tournament landscape at Wimbledon has been blown wide open after a stunning high-intensity early round exit for Serena. And turning to the gridiron, our thoughts and full support are with former NFL superstar Chris Johnson, who has courageously gone public with his diagnosis of ALS, prompting the entire sports community to rally behind one of the most electric playmakers to ever lace up a pair of cleats. Joining me at the counter to help handle this overwhelming slate of madness, of course, at the bar, the co-host of the ETB Lounge, Mr. Nick DiMartino. Nick, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing all right. You didn't wait for me to stop chewing my ice.
Yeah, it wouldn't be the first time you twisted the ball.
Well, the East Coast is practically begging for something like that right now, and I'd say the flames of the sports world are practically begging for some ice at the moment.
Look, I'll take a heat wave. All right, I lived through blizzards, snowstorms. I'll take the heat wave any day.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Also joining me on the panel this evening, the one and only Nick Morgeson. Nick, how you doing?
Oh, I'm hanging in with 100-degree heat wave over the last 2 days. But you know what? I'm happy because our pool was finally finished. I was in it the last couple of days. I was able to sit on the Chase Lounge. Now I sound all bougie, like a billion-dollar athlete. But my point is...
well, it was from all of our Novig and Wolf Spreads money.
No, we'll talk about gambling later. Don't you worry.
Ooh,
But
wow.
you know what? You know what? It's good. It's good to be here. It'd be nice if some other people were here, but that's a different issue for another day.
We will have Connor Rowland joining us in a little bit. He's in the middle of some travel right now. We've got a lot of ground to cover, a lot of massive bets to analyze, a lot of cold truths to pour out. Make sure you are following us across social media at the ETB Lounge, at ETB Network, and you can follow us individuals across social media at Thomas J. Albano, at Nick DiMart, and at N. Morganson Radio. Gentlemen, the scoreboards are off, the stadiums are empty, but in here the lights stay on and the conversation's just beginning. Allow me to say that the lounge is officially open.
I see what you did there.
And you did it with a Coke.
Yes. I did say the drinks were not alcoholic.
It's a non-alcoholic bar. Come on.
Is that what we are now, a non-alcoholic bar?
Well, wait a minute. Unless a sponsor wants to come by and pay for it, then
of course.
Yeah.
But we are going to get right into the madness. And guess what? Nick Morganson. It's a show that the two of us are a part of. So you know what that means. Does anything stay the same?
No.
Or wait a minute, wrong show. Since this is the ETB Lounge, I think that means today we're going to start off with a little bit of yeah. Things completely went up, belly up this in the last I'd say 12 to 15 hours of this show. Prior to this show coming on the air, we were only going to just talk about FIFA a little bit at the end. You know, Mexico and England just got kicked off because of the little rain delay. However, big, mega breaking news, some FIFA flashpoint, if you will. In a historic move, FIFA's disciplinary committee has used Article 27 to completely suspend the red card that was issued to U.S. star forward Folarin Balogun and his automatic one-match ban. He is officially eligible to play against Belgium tomorrow in Seattle. And that has sparked rumors, reports, outrage, and backlash. Everything has exploded with the possible indication. Now, this has been reported by a couple of sources, but it has not been officially confirmed, and FIFA has denied any sort of involvement. However, reports have circulated that the Trump administration and members of Trump's posse directly contacted FIFA President Gianni Infantino to lobby for the reversal. And Trump has already publicly thanked FIFA on Truth Social for, quote, reversing a great injustice. FIFA has denied any outside political influence, claiming the decision was strictly protocol-based. The Royal Belgian Football Association, of course, is absolutely furious, calling the move, quote, astonishing and a total contradiction of classic tournament fair play statutes. Balogun leads the U.S. men's national team with 3 goals and 3 starts this tournament, scoring the opening goal against Bosnia and Herzegovina before his controversial 64-minute straight red card. Now, the suspension isn't canceled. That needs to be clarified. It is deferred on a 1-year probationary period. If Balogun commits a similar infringement over the next year, the ban can reactivate. My plan was to start off with Connor, but with Connor not here, Nick D, I'm going to go with you first. Does having Balogun back instantly swing the betting lines in favor of the U.S. men's national team against the Belgium side that's highly disciplined?
Well, yeah. It's one of he's our best player. Like, yeah, that's obviously going to swing the betting odds quite a lot. I'm not much of an expert on soccer betting odds because there's hardly any scoring. It's hard to have a spread when every game is like 2-1. But I am sure it swung the betting odds quite a bit. It had to have. It had to have swung the betting odds quite a bit. I didn't look at them, but I'm sure they did.
Well, in that case, I'm going to follow up with the question that I was to pose to you. And actually, it comes in regards. Hang on, I got to play it again. A statement. Shout out to our buddy Callum McClurg, who couldn't be here today on a last-minute work trip. A statement has been released by U.S. men's head coach Mauricio Pochettino. And he says, quote, if anyone was harmed in this whole situation, it was the United States. Can anyone justify the idea that we weren't punished? I mean, playing 30 or 35 minutes of man down in a World Cup knockout match, it's not as if we're benefiting. No, there's no extraordinary gain. we're getting out of all this? I mean, ultimately, we aren't victims, but we aren't the villains of this story either. In response to hearing this...
Wait. Whoa. I'm confused by what he was saying. He's saying they would have been better off with him remaining suspended?
I guess what he's referring to is all the backlash that's going against the United States and how they're being painted as villains, and how you have this idea that, all of this, that this is something unprecedented, and that the United States is benefiting from something so unprecedented and potentially corrupt, if the reports are true, of the Trump administration.
But don't you want wait a minute. Don't you want your player back? It's your best player on your roster.
Yeah, I was confused by that. That makes no sense.
But wait a second. So I'm going to say this now, and by the way, I don't want to see any political BS in our TikTok or Instagram or Twitter. What I'm about to
TikTok
say.
You can't control. That's the wild west.
Oh no, I already got attacked for taking the side of Levitard in the Carton debate, because apparently I'm a liberal. I'm a strong leftist, which is so not accurate. But if Trump got involved, this is a bad look for soccer.
How do you define involved, though? If he just called the president of FIFA and said, I think you should take a look, I think you should take a review, it was a very bad call. If he does something like that, it's like, is that really a big deal?
I've never heard your Trump impression.
Oh, it's good. I've heard it before.
I've never heard it before.
But what I will say is, if it was influenced in making the change to change the red card, that should not be allowed. That falls under what FIFA is already known for being a corrupt organization, as it already has been stated.
Yeah, but the thing is, what does Trump have that he can do to FIFA that would make that would force them to overturn the call? What is he going to do? Bomb FIFA? It's not a country.
I'm not saying that. My point is that apparently the report was that they put together this strong force of lawyers, and they went to FIFA and they said, well, we want this card overturned for illegal practices, and that they didn't use the slow motion replay technology to actually check the call in the proper VAR, correct. And if that's the case, first of all, even Callan said to me when it happened, because him and I happened to be watching it, he said it was done instantly wrong, the way the officiating handled it. They should have gone back. They should have looked at it in a slow motion replay, and they should have said, okay, he wasn't doing it on purpose. He clearly was not doing it on purpose.
No, but on that note, Nick Morgeson, have we ever seen political clout cross over into the World Cup discipline like this? Does Belgium have a right to be completely outraged?
Well, I'll say this, though. Don't you think it probably happens a lot? We just don't know about it.
Well,
it's just that Trump can't keep his mouth shut. So
he
doesn't know how to keep a secret.
Well, that's par for the course. Trump doesn't keep his mouth shut, regardless if it's soccer, politics, if he's going to open up the pathway.
Think this type of thing probably happens a lot, that president, we don't take soccer that seriously. Don't you think that if this happened to a South American country or something like that, they would, their president, don't you think that if this happened to Argentina, maybe Javier Milei might do the same thing?
No.
That wouldn't surprise me if they did.
No, because Trump is a loudmouth more than any other president I've seen around the world.
No. The point I'm making is, don't you think that presidents of other countries that take soccer more seriously than we do would probably do the same thing?
I mean, heck, look what happened to Japan when they were eliminated. They blurred out the freaking press conference
No, that was South Korea.
Oh, South Korea. Sorry,
missing other Asian countries.
Sorry, you are right. It was South Korea. You're right. Sorry, but South Korea blurred out their press conference because they were so insulted that they got eliminated.
That is, that was very funny.
Well, it's funny that you guys talk about that, and we've seen FIFA, seen corrupt actions, but also stand their ground. The reason I say that is because there was a very famous controversy. You know how with group play, you see both games go on at the exact same time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think we also see that in Olympic play. We see it in a couple of other, and we even see it, in Major League Baseball and the NFL the last day or the last week of the season. You know why that is? Because in 1982, West Germany and Austria colluded with one another to have West Germany win 1-0, so that way both of them could advance on to the knockout stage. And Algeria, who basically who basically had a real legitimate chance of getting into the playoffs, getting into knockout stage, was eliminated.
Well, this goes back to what I said. FIFA is a corrupt organization. They say sometimes FIFA is more corrupt than the Olympics at times when it comes to handling stuff. So am I surprised that that FIFA is going to listen to President Trump and say, put my player from my country back on the pitch? No. One, it helps ratings because he's the best player on the team. Now, let me say one thing. We had a record amount of people watch. I think it was like 25 million people watched the last match, and the numbers have been really good. Now, was the U.S. going to win without how do you say his last name again? Because I can never say his last name.
Balogun?
Mm-hmm.
Without Balogun, were they going to win? Probably not. They probably were not going to win. Belgium's also one of the better teams in the tournament. Them and Argentina. And Argentina got a scare from, what was it, Cape Verde, which was like the amazing story of the tournament. But you know what? Trump needs to keep his mouth shut. Don't get involved. It looks bad when he opens his mouth. We should take this red card away from this player. And you know what?
That's how
red card. You got to take it away. Red card was so good.
You got to make us look good, because if you do, I'm going to bomb you if I don't.
Here's the thing, though. You're talking about corruption with FIFA. Like I said before, what is Trump going to do to FIFA? He can't hold anything over their heads. He can't.
It's international relations.
Okay,
international relations with what? FIFA? They're not a foreign country.
I'm not saying they're a foreign country, but
hold on. Because you brought up a point, Nick, about records. You brought up talking about relationship. I'll just flat out say it because everyone is now talking about it on social media, and I will play into the narrative just for that. Do you consider this, if this report about the Trump administration is true, is this giving any sort of indication? Even if the report is not true, just the simple fact that we have this unprecedented move that's only happened maybe one other time in FIFA World Cup history, is this any sort of indication that FIFA might be rooting for the U.S. to go as far as they can, if not win the whole thing?
First of all, FIFA's not going to come out and root for anybody, because you want to talk about real corruption. That would be real corruption if they came out.
I didn't say they were going to come out and do it.
Well, let's go back to earlier in the tournament. Who was it? Ronaldo, who committed the same penalty, pushing someone over, and they didn't give him a. Or was it Messi? Sorry.
Messi.
Now I'm getting my international soccer stars messed up. My point is, Messi did the same thing. They didn't throw the red card on him. They didn't even give him a yellow. They just let it go.
Yep.
For this, they gave an instant red card. They didn't even give a yellow.
We the very first matchup of the entire tournament, which I think was Mexico and was another
Paraguay.
Yeah,
Mexico and Paraguay, or Mexico and another country.
Or am I thinking of a different game when the player from Paraguay got a red card for covering his mouth?
That's what I was going to go to. That was red card,
right? Okay.
Hold on.
The game where there were 3 red cards in one matchup. That was unbelievable.
But hold on, though. And Callan pointed this out on Empty the Pitch on Saturday mornings, that the new rule that was put into the World Cup this year is that it's an automatic red card if you put your shirt up to covering your face, or you put your hand over your face, because they don't want all these fights between countries happening, all the issues that some countries have with one another. So they turned it into an automatic red card if you put your shirt over your face.
South Africa, by the way, was the opponent.
Who was it?
South Africa.
Oh, South Africa.
I didn't think it was Mexico. That is like a really soft. Jesus Christ.
Oh, no, it is a stupid rule.
That's one of the most absurd things I've ever heard.
My favorite is, and Callan says this all the time, is like, athletes are not robots. Like, they want to celebrate, like when they hit a walk-off home run, or when they do something exciting, and there's some people that just say, well, you can't stick your tongue out or do all this dumb stuff. Well, what are you supposed to be? I am robot. I hit home run. Yay. Like
you can't cover your mouth because you might say something mean to the opponent? Like, what are we in middle school? This is pathetic.
No, I'm with you. Like,
I get that. I'm just saying, like, that's not even a rule you'd see in high school in American sports.
I just find it so interesting that, like on a day where we've got a very big matchup between Mexico and England, on a day where we just saw Brazil, a powerhouse of soccer, get eliminated, on a day where you've got more than one player. You got Neymar, and I believe it was Ronaldo who announced before that they will not be competing in another World Cup. No more international play. We're stuck on this because of some completely unprecedented move that FIFA has done, and of course, the reputation that FIFA has.
So the rule specifically is players face an automatic red card if they cover their mouth or face with their hand, arm, or shirt while verbally confronting an opponent. So it's not just doing it and running around. Like, if you purposely go up and confront an opponent in their face and you do that, then it's an automatic red card. They said the strict measure was implemented to eradicate hidden abuse, racism, and discriminatory language, which I feel like that happens in any sport, not just soccer.
It's especially weird in the context of the World Cup, because most of these countries speak different languages.
Well, the one thing
Paraguay, it was Paraguay against South Africa. They probably can't even communicate with each other.
The one thing I don't like, and this bothers me when I'm walking around in public or I'm going to run errands, and then you see people like talking a different language, and you have no idea if they're insulting you or not when you're walking around when someone's talking a different language, and you want to like kick the crap out of those people because like you see them laughing in your direction and you have no idea what they're saying. Like, that's the one time I wish I had.
I think we need to clip this so we can even out the allegations against you.
What?
So you're accused of being a leftist for defending Levitard, and now you're like, I can't stand when people speak different languages in public.
No, about me. I'm not saying I don't.
I didn't want to say it. I didn't want to say it.
I mean, come on.
No, I'm talking about like when I'm walking around and they start laughing at me and they're talking a different language that I can't understand. That's what I'm saying. I don't care if people talk different languages in public.
Yeah,
Nick, you're burying a hole for yourself.
Yeah, I mean, at what point do you think that, I don't know. I've never heard people speak a different language and think they're talking shit about me.
No.
It also depends on the language, because I don't think Spanish-speaking people do it as much because they know a lot of people speak Spanish, whereas people who speak Chinese, they might do it more often because they know very few people speak Chinese in America. So I think it probably depends on the language.
Maybe.
To get off of language for a second, here is my question. I'll go to you, Nick D, for this one. The fact that this red card is even overturned in the first place. Now, if you remember, as we talked about, the red card was issued, I believe it was like in the 67th minute or 66th minute, where when the red card happened, you saw people throw their arms up in shock and like, what the hell is this? The fact that this has now been overturned, is this an embarrassment? Is this more embarrassing for FIFA in regards to all of this corrupt allegation that you see around it? Or is this simply an embarrassment because like the head coach said, a red card was issued in a team handicap when they shouldn't have been in the first place?
I mean, so it's not like in basketball where they can retroactively give you a red card or remove it. Like, can they do that?
Yeah, they can.
So they can. It doesn't happen often, but they can.
But if the United States had lost the game, then they could remove the red card all they want. They would have still been out.
You have to remember also through rounds of this tournament, cards carry over to next rounds. So if you have a yellow card in the round before and you get a yellow card next match, that equals a red card, and then you're suspended
For the next match. Right.
If you get the reason the red card was so controversial is because not only did they lose him for more than half a match, it's automatic when you get a red card that you're suspended for next match. So that's why it was a whole big deal. Why they made a big deal.
My issue with the red cards and the fact that they just my issue is that they so flippantly give them out and they carry such a harsh punishment.
Well, it's like getting 2 technicals in the NBA, like the yellow card and then a red card. It's the same thing.
It's a similar thing, but they're a lot more careful about it in the NBA than they are in soccer, it seems like.
Oh, no.
I mean, come on. It seems way easier. I mean, putting your covering your mouth with your shirt when you say something to an opponent gets you a red card in soccer. I mean, like, come on, man. Like, it's not the same thing as in basketball. Like, it takes a lot more effort to get 2 technicals in basketball than in soccer.
I don't know about that though, because the NBA is more sensitive today than it was in the 90s. Like,
it's a lot more sensitive. I get that, but it's still less sensitive than soccer. I mean, it just isn't comparable if you look at how easily you can get a red card.
I think it's the same thing like when we go for the Olympic rules, like when we go to compete for FIBA, or when we go to compete and they have all these rules that, like, technically you're allowed to goaltend in the Olympics because the rules are different. The way that you're allowed to put your hand up in the cylinder more often than you are in. Actually, I think the NBA is harder than the Olympics. One, because the distance is closer for the 3-pointer, and you're allowed to put your hand up in the box, so you can technically goaltend in a sense. But my point is that I think in the international sense, we have all these countries competing. They have to kind of come to a common consensus. I'm not saying it's a good rule. Let me be very clear about that. But maybe this was a way to stop, like, I don't know, international politics of trade in a sense where they don't want countries like attacking one another.
I get there's a lot of bad blood between some of the countries that play each other in soccer. Like, I get that there's a typical rivalry there sometimes, in some cases. But that doesn't mean it's not soft and ridiculous.
Oh, it is soft. That's not debatable. Like, that would be like in the NBA if a player like made a symbol like after they scored and they're like, yes, oh, you're ejected. You just got 2 technicals. Like, so you are right in that sense. Like, it's soft.
Well, I mean, doesn't the NFL have their own rules about didn't they double down on taunting? Right. And you can't do finger gun motions anymore.
Well,
but you get it's a penalty. You don't get ejected and then suspended for the next game. It's a little different.
If you do it twice, you do.
No, wait. I think it depends. There's jurisdiction depending on what happened in the moment. Because remember, NFL and NBA both have the right to eject on a flagrant one, technically, or on one technical. If they think
I was more referring to the unsportsmanlike rule.
In the NFL, if you get an unsportsmanlike conduct, the ref has the right to eject you. They
usually don't get ejected.
Usually they don't. But if the play was egregious enough, they could. Because I think it takes 2 unsportsmanlike conducts to get ejected. So I don't know. It's just funny that we have to talk about how the president had to get involved reportedly to stop a red card. I mean
the thing is that he came out publicly and said that, right?
No.
No, not that I know.
No, but he did come out with a statement afterward, after the red card was overturned, saying, oh, thank goodness for the reversal of an injustice.
Yeah, because he basically put his mouth where it didn't belong.
I mean, the thing is, though, don't you think it's very, very much possible that they would have overturned it anyway because it was so egregious of a call?
First of all, this is the second time in the existence of the World Cup that a red card has ever been turned over. Ever. Second time in history.
Yeah, you don't see this often.
I think last one
was the other time. When's the last time it happened?
1982.
Yeah, the Berlin Wall was still up.
Yeah. So the last,
like I said, when the controversy happened in the group play stage, that led to that led to all the games starting at the exact same time in the last group play game. That was also a 1982 controversy, and that involved West Germany.
Look, all I can say is this. The rules in soccer are so fucking stupid. Some of them. It's so ridiculous. And the way I see it is it's just like my criticism is not that they overturned this red card. It's probably that they're not open to overturning more red cards that look like this.
Well, the problem is, when you and I debated on NTGP a couple days ago about the whole Wembanyama thing. You made a face at me when I said it was a flagrant one, and I still think it's a flagrant one to this day.
You're the only person who thinks that.
That's not true, but
whatever.
Okay,
Wemby's parents maybe.
I think the whole thing that you're going to with this Nick Morganson is that, and you even mentioned how Callan had mentioned it when you and him were watching the U.S. Bosnia matchup. If they're talking about how they have VAR and promoting all this VAR stuff, why not use it more? And it's like the same debate that we see with MLB and instant replay, and NFL with official reviews, and NBA with official reviews.
Well, I think review is used more than ever in professional sports. It used to not be. Now you have all the leagues trusting it more than ever, and they should, because you should want to get the call right as an official, an umpire, whoever you are.
Thanks, Armando Galarraga and Jim Joyce.
Well, and who did we? I just saw CB Buckner's retiring finally from Major League Baseball. Finally. So, you know what it is? I think the ABS system finally caught up to him.
Mm-hmm. Well, somebody said just in time for what's her name, Powell, to become the first full-time MLB umpire, and I say, yeah, just in time for that to happen, and she's not going to make any history because we're not going to see any pitches thrown next season.
No, I mean. And they said she had one of the worst strike zones ever seen.
Really?
Yeah. So who knows if
I haven't paid attention on her numbers too much. I was just laughing that CB Buckner's down.
Well, anyone who's paying attention to umpire strike zones has a lot of time on their hands.
Yeah, seriously. By the way, you're talking about, we're talking about soccer, debating rules. By the way, guys, has anyone ever noticed not one ad for the MLS during this whole World Cup?
It's interesting you brought this up because I saw an awful announcing story. I saw that
or NWSL for that matter.
Well, NWSL is getting promoted by ESPN because they're part of that Women's Sports Sunday that they're running.
Actually, now that I think about it, you might see NWSL ads next year because next year's the Women's World Cup.
Actually, I think there was an NWSL game on ESPN either earlier today or yesterday.
I know, but I'm just thinking next year with the women doing their World Cup, you'll probably see ads next year.
Here's the other problem, though, with the Women's Cup. I think it's on Netflix.
Is it actually?
Yeah, I think it's on Netflix. And there's already I don't want to call it a dispute, but like they don't have a deal yet for the next men's FIFA World Cup yet. And they're talking about Netflix. Sorry, I have my words messed up again. But Netflix, they're talking about Netflix taking that over. Also, that's going to cause a major problem if the World Cup.
You're saying if the World Cup in 4 years is on Netflix?
Yeah, that's going to cause a problem.
Wow.
Because
how must you feel if that's true? How must you feel if you're Fox? Because when you got your first World Cup was 2018, the United States wasn't in it, and now you actually have so many people watching this year's World Cup, and now it's going to be taken away from you.
I don't know how true that is. First of all, from the reporting we did on Press Row, Fox got an incredible steal of a deal this time around. And actually, FIFA was trying to pull out of the deal for this World Cup like a year or two ago because they were paying undervalue for whatever.
So you are right. U.S. TV rights for the 2030 World Cup have not yet been awarded. Fox is trying to stay in it. Netflix is in it. NBC is also trying to get in it.
Right. And I know the women's one, if I'm not mistaken, I think the next one is on Netflix, at least from what I understood. And I don't think a lot of people are going to watch it if it's on Netflix. And I know, Nick, you're going to say, oh, but everyone has Netflix.
Correct.
Everyone has Netflix. Which, again, I would debate that statement, too. I don't think everybody has Netflix.
Okay, don't you think that in 4 years, I mean, I would argue possibly now more people have Netflix than have cable.
Agreed, but not everyone has Netflix.
No, but not everybody has cable either. So I mean, like that can be good. That can go both ways.
Oh no, I'm not debating about cable. I'm just saying that when you've said in the past, like almost everyone has Netflix.
How many people do you know who don't have Netflix?
I can think of some people who don't have Netflix, but
I mean, in America or in like third world countries?
No, here in the U.S., some people don't. You have to remember, not
okay,
everyone
under the age of 65.
Wait a minute. not everyone is paying for every streaming service. You have to remember that because now that we have 8 million streaming services.
I get
Okay,
that.
How about, all right,
Netflix
hold on. I'm going to settle this. Do a Google search. All right. How many people in the U.S. have Netflix? And Google result is approximately 67 to roughly 84 million subscribers. So about 70, 75 million homes. All right. Let's say about 70 million. Let's say 70 million subscribers for
That's not even 50% of the world of the U.S. population or the world population. Sorry, excuse me.
How many U.S. households have cable?
Oh no, I mean it's going to be a close number. It's
41 million U.S. households.
well, you also have to take into account people are cord cutting or starting to cord cut.
So I looked it up. How many people in the U.S. have Netflix versus cable? It says nationwide, 83% of U.S. It doesn't really actually answer the question. It says 83% use streaming services, but it doesn't say Netflix. And it says, in contrast, only 36% of U.S. adults.
So this says 30 to 36% of U.S. adults or households subscribe to traditional cable or satellite TV. So the number of cable cutters is significantly going up.
And
Yeah,
you
but
also have to consider it's probably going to be a lot higher, and it's probably going to be at least slightly higher 4 years from now. And also, the younger demographic are more likely to be cord cutters.
Oh,
Yeah.
and I'm not debating that. I understand. First of all, I'm getting more and more annoyed that they're putting more things on streaming because
I am too sometimes. I don't disagree with you.
because it makes it a lot harder to watch things. You can't switch between watching certain things. The day, and I've said this before, the day that someone figures out how to make like a channel device to put like all your streaming services into that you could flip back and forth would make a shitload of money if they could figure that out.
Streaming version of cable.
Basically, but with all your
actually, that's probably coming soon. Like, it wouldn't surprise somebody's probably going to invent that, and that'll probably be a feature on a lot of smart TVs.
if I could figure that out, oh, the amount of money we could make, that'd be amazing.
All right. Moving off of all of our FIFA talk, now let's talk about what we had intended to start today's show with before everything in FIFA blew up today. And that involves, oh, by the way, actually, no, speak a little FIFA news. England has scored 36 minutes in. It's 1-0 England over Mexico so far.
Oh, wow. So even with all the Mexico fans going to the 14 hotels that the England players were staying in and playing loud noise and firing fireworks all night to keep the players up, they're still winning. Bravo!
I'm not gonna lie. I'm totally rooting for Mexico.
Oh no,
over England.
The Mexico fans have been have complete.
I'm rooting for Mexico. They have better food.
Okay, that's.
I thought you were gonna make a 4th of July joke.
No, maybe that too, but I mean, I usually I almost always root against England and Canada.
Don't say that to Callan. Callan's partially what is he? England? I forgot what he said. Part of that nationality? I don't know.
The winner of this match, by the way, will play Norway, who defeated Brazil earlier today.
No, but the fans, you realize that what they had to do for the England players, they had to put up barricades with police security and everything because the fans were firing fireworks outside the hotel trying to keep them awake at night.
Yeah, they're crazy.
They are.
Some of the international fans are crazy. Like, I still find it funny, by the way, that international fans were going to food places in the U.S. for the first time, too.
Yeah, no. Europeans are, like, hooked on ranch dressing.
Yeah, well, they finally had to put a ban to that.
And air conditioning.
Well, and air conditioning. Europeans, they're dying because they don't have air conditioning.
Well, oh, shit. It'll just go again.
Did they?
Oh, my God. How quick was that?
I should put the game on, but I have this stupid Dodger Padre game on.
I
Sorry,
have that on, too. I've had baseball on all day with their Star Spangled Sunday on Peacock. Like I told you guys, I'm gonna try to get as much baseball in this year as I can and appreciate it.
Well, when there's a lockout for 2 years, you'll know why.
Yeah. Let's finally go over to the NBA. So, in a very shocking roster-altering move, the Boston Celtics have traded multi-time All-Star Jaylen Brown. Maybe not so much that the trade was shocking because we had heard reports that this could happen. The shock, however, comes that they were traded to a divisional rival, the Philadelphia 76ers. After falling short of their ultimate championship goals, Boston elects to pivot its asset distribution around Jason Tatum, seeking backcourt depth and draft capital. Meanwhile, Philadelphia pushes all its remaining chips into the middle of the table, pairing Brown with Joel Embiid to create a absolute powerhouse in the East. As if I haven't heard that one before, Philadelphia.
You mean trust the process?
Yes, exactly. Like, I'm going to trust this process. This trade is heavily influenced by the strict new luxury tax second apron guidelines, forcing top-tier franchises to make some difficult, highly calculated decisions regarding Supermax contract commitments. Brown averaged 23 points, 5.5 rebounds, and 3.6 assists per game last season while remaining one of the premier perimeter defenders in the association. Brown is currently under a historic Supermax extension contract, which significantly complicates salary matching and limits Philadelphia's remaining financial flexibility for depth signings. So I'll start with Nick Morgeson. Obviously, we talk all about trying to make the finances match because that's a rule in the NBA for some reason. But still, trading him to a divisional rival, first of all, why? And second of all, how do you see a move like this impacting the rest of the offseason decisions, not just for the teams involved, but the NBA in general?
Well, the rest of the first of all, the offseason is not going to really officially get underway until we figure out where LeBron James is going to end up. But because now there's reports saying that he could bandwagon himself to the city of brotherly love and join.
Well, that is part of this story, I guess, too, is the rumors that the Sixers are one of the top 5 teams remaining in the LeBron sweepstakes.
But at the same time, why the fuck would I want to play with Joel Embiid? The guy can't stay healthy. I don't even think he's a good player, to be honest with you. But Nick, make the faces all you want. He hasn't been a great player. But
I mean, he's good. He's a very good player when he's healthy, but go ahead.
He's a very good player, but he struggles with his health mightily.
Which I also think a lot of it is like, and I said this on MTGP, so the 2 years that he actually played more than 65 games, he was one of them. He won MVP. The other year he was trying to win MVP. It's like, I think he probably could play more than he really does.
He's the reason why that stupid 60 game minimum rule now for end of season awards is in. It's because of him. Because
that's true.
Because the 1 year he won the MVP, he shouldn't have because he didn't play enough games. Played like 40 games.
I think it's a stupid rule.
Yeah, but
he didn't play 40 games. He played more than 60 games. He played like 60 something.
He did not play 60 games that year.
Gentlemen,
I'll look it up right now.
What?
We're not done.
What?
I'm being very skeptical with this report because it's from the Daily Wire.
He played 66 games.
Did he?
Hold
Okay,
on.
go ahead.
MVP, yes.
No, I gotta intervene here because it's FIFA again. I'm being very careful with this. I'm gonna call this unconfirmed because it's Daily Wire. I'm trying to find a second source. Report, however, from Brent Scher says that Belgium has lawyered up and
I saw that.
And is going to try and fight FIFA's decision to reinstate Balogun. We might be in for a very long night.
It's embarrassing.
First of all, we don't know if it's 100% confirmed. Is he officially confirmed to be back in the match? Because I haven't seen anything from FIFA themselves, like from any of their accounts saying anything.
Jesus Christ. Belgium is just embarrassing themselves. All they got going for them is their waffles.
Mexico has scored. It is now 2-1 with a few minutes to go in the half.
Yeah, wide open goal there from Mexico. This is a complete embarrassment for the World Cup. Like, I don't know what you do at this point. But we can talk about that later. But to get back, you said he played 66 games that year?
The year he won MVP, yes.
The year that he beat Jokic?
The year that he won MVP, which was the 22 to 23 season, he won 66. He played 66 games.
Yeah, and Jokic still had a better season than he did. But
okay, I'm just saying he didn't play 40 games like you said he did. He played 66 games.
Well, it felt like 40 games, because
but it wasn't. It was 66. I mean, which is not a lot, but for an MVP winner. But yes, he played. It's not like he played 40 games.
I don't know. I just can't stand it.
But let me go back to the question. A divisional rival? That's not something that you see in sports every day.
Not only was it to a division rival, it was to a division rival for fucking nothing.
Well, It was in, and it's also in the same division, in the Atlantic Division.
That's
also.
right. That's
So-
it. It's a division rival.
Right. So
Not even a conference rival, a division, playing in your own division.
Here's the thing. He was not traded for value. Let's get that very clear. Number one. Number two, I think his Twitch stuff and all the stuff that he was doing did not help him. I think that the Celtics were fed up with all the nonsense that he was doing on the streams and threatening to have a podcast debate with Stephen A. Smith, and which I'm going to be thoroughly entertained if that happens.
I low-key want to see that.
I do want to see that. But apparently there was rumors and reputation around the league that, and you and I discussed this, Nick, that one executive said that he wasn't even a top 50 player. Someone said, and
that's based on this advanced analytics crap.
What? Yeah,
Which,
but
I mean, the problem with some of this advanced analytics stuff is that it ends up benefiting players that play fewer games because that ends up helping their percentages.
But analytics are not on the field. That's what bothers me.
Realistically, nobody thinks. I don't think anybody seriously thinks Jaylen Brown's not a top 50 player in the NBA. No, I don't think anybody really thinks that.
Well, apparently he got a bad reputation from all executives in general for everything that was going on with him. Now, if you want to say Brad Stevens, who is now the GM of the Celtics, made a terrible deal, he made an incredibly awful deal trading for Paul George, who can't stay on the court, got suspended 25 games for PEDs last year.
I mean, you would think that here's what's crazy. You would think that if the Sixers offered the Celtics the deal that they made, that the Celtics would have been insulted.
Well,
you would think that.
The one thing that I'm incensed with is if you were able to get Giannis, which is what was the deal was on the table.
That's what's incensed to me. And I said that with you, Nick Morganson, on ETB, and I said that with you, Nick D, when I filled in on MTGP. I think I talked to you guys on the same week about this, and that's what baffles me. You could have gotten Giannis for this.
Well, from what I understand, I thought the Bucks, they didn't want that deal. From what I understand, from what I've heard and read.
I'm trying to remember the name of the guy, the prospect that they were not willing to. So the guy's name was Pablo Escobar. They were not willing. Yeah, they were not willing to part with a young player that they wanted to develop, and that's why the deal never happened.
Wait! There's an NBA player on the Celtics named Pablo Escobar.
I think that was the name of the guy. It was Paulo or Pablo something. I don't remember.
Wait. Hold on. I got to look this up. There's no way there's a player in the NBA named Pablo Escobar.
I knew it was Pablo something. I can't remember his name. But it was that player that held up the trade. And that's why why Jaylen Brown didn't end up in Milwaukee.
Yeah, I'm just going crazy because I don't know what player it was.
I'm going crazy right now.
It was a young player who they got or drafted over the last year or two. They were not willing to part, and that's why they didn't get Giannis.
The only Paolo I know in the NBA is Paulo Banchero, but he's on Orlando.
Yeah, that's a Magic.
I don't remember. I can't remember the guy's name exactly, but it was that player that stopped them from making the trade. Now, you could debate whether Jaylen Brown would he have signed an extension to stay in Milwaukee.
Gonzalez.
Oh, Hugo. Sorry.
Hugo Gonzalez.
How do you confuse Pablo and Hugo?
Oh my God!
Leave me alone, will you?
You are just messing up. You're messing up countries. You're messing up names.
That's what I get for having sangria today. Maybe I'm still a little.
You can't tell apart Asian countries.
That's what you get with me. I usually I'm not a big drinker, but I had a little bit today, so maybe
stay
I'm still
off the weed.
Sorry, but it was that player. It was that player that stopped the trade. Now, would Jaylen have signed an extension in Milwaukee? I don't think so. I think that was part of the reason why they Haslam, the owner, which Tom, you and I laughed about on
right, because that's my point. If there's one person I want to go to for sound decision making, of course it's going to be Jimmy Haslam.
Oh yeah, because his Browns are running so smoothly right now.
Yeah. Giving up Baker Mayfield and saying he needs to grow up, and then getting Deshaun Watson, genius move.
But
Genius move.
what I will say is this was clearly they had it out for Jaylen Brown, the Celtics. This had nothing to do with trade value because they got like 10 cents on the dollar in this trade. Paul George is going to get hurt at some point during the season, which means you're gonna get every Celtics fan bitching and moaning during the season. Why did you trade Jaylen Brown for Paul George?
Well, the thing is, though, it's like I part of me thinks that if I were to compare the Celtics to a franchise in, say, baseball, I would compare them to the Yankees. They have a history of winning, and they don't take any nonsense. They care about tradition. So I think a player like Jaylen Brown with his personality, I think the type of player that is Jaylen Brown would probably piss off an organization like the Celtics more than most other teams in the league. I think that's fair to say, right?
Well, it's like I said, the whole Twitch stuff. Like
that's the whole point, though. The point I'm making is that it seems like the Celtics historically, they don't want players that are very outspoken and do Twitch streams. Every single one of their stars throughout history, it seems like they were super focused on basketball. They didn't talk a lot.
Okay, but there's one problem with that theory now. This is not 10 or 15 years ago. This is...
I get that.
There's player-driven media. Every player has a podcast or a live stream or a Twitch. Players control their own media. So maybe the Celtics are being a baby a little bit here when it comes to that stuff.
Fair enough. I'm just saying, don't you think that probably has something to do with why they wanted to move on from him?
Oh, yeah. I said that was the clear reason why I think they moved on.
I also think Jaylen Brown kind of was baiting them into trading him. I think he poked the bear.
No.
You don't think he poked the bear on purpose?
No. Because if you read the Shams Charania report, he never requested a trade to leave the Celtics.
Just because he didn't request a trade doesn't mean he wasn't poking the bear. That's the point I'm making.
Okay, but
he knew he would piss off the front office. He knew that. And if he didn't want to piss them off, he wouldn't have done all those Twitch streams.
Yeah, but you could
Jaylen Brown just wants to be the smartest guy in the room.
But wait a minute. You could say that about LeBron James, who does a podcast every week. Do you think the Lakers were going to get rid of LeBron for that reason?
Well, no, but the point I'm making is that, well, it's different because LeBron's relationship with the Lakers was a lot different than Jaylen Brown's relationship with the Celtics.
I wholeheartedly disagree.
You don't think their relationship was different? I mean, the Lakers, they drafted his son for LeBron, but the Celtics have done that for Jaylen Brown.
First of all, Jaylen Brown has been with the organization for how long?
About 10 years, 12 years, maybe. He was drafted in 2016. I think. Yeah, 2016.
I'm looking it up so I don't say the wrong thing again.
Tatum was drafted in 17 the year after, I remember.
He was drafted third overall in 2016.
Okay.
Okay, so that's how long? That's 12 years? 11 years?
Like I just said, the Celtics and Lakers are different. No, the point I'm making is that, hold up, the Lakers did a lot more favors and were willing to bend over backwards a lot more for LeBron than the Celtics were for Jaylen Brown. Would you dispute that? I mean, they hired JJ Redick as podcast host.
Well,
they drafted his son as a favor.
The son one I agree with. The son one I agree with.
The point I'm making is that the Celtics were not willing to run through a wall for Jaylen Brown the way the Lakers were with LeBron. That's just a fact. Come on.
I think the organization was out to screw him more than to help him.
Exactly my point. Were the Lakers out to screw LeBron?
Well, I would debate that now that he left the Lakers, where there's some issues going on there. And by the way, what I would say is Jeannie Buss has not liked LeBron James for years. Would you debate on that front that Jeannie Buss has said some pretty public things about LeBron quite a few times?
Yes, but okay, fine, but it's not based on the action. I wouldn't think that, though, based on her actions or based on the Lakers front office actions when he was there. I mean, the Lakers, whatever Jeannie Buss has said about him, the Lakers did everything to keep LeBron happy that the Celtics weren't. The Celtics and Jaylen Brown didn't have that type of relationship. LeBron could go on a podcast and say whatever he wanted, and the Lakers weren't going to get mad about it. It's the relationship was different is the point I'm making.
Well, you wouldn't last with an organization for 10 years if you didn't have a decent relationship with them.
Well, no, but I'm not saying he had a bad relationship the entire time, but within the past year or so, or since he started doing these Twitch streams, it started to sour a little bit. Now, maybe the Celtics overreacted. It's fair to say. I mean,
they did clearly.
Objectively, they did. But the point I'm making is that Jaylen Brown's relationship with the Celtics was a lot different than LeBron's relationship with the Lakers.
Well, I also don't think it was fair to judge Jaylen Brown, just trade him out of the blue when Jason Tatum was out most of this year. Jaylen Brown carried this team. He could have been MVP this year, the way Jaylen Brown was carrying this team.
And that's what I was looking at this.
I don't disagree.
Maybe that's what I was looking at. Maybe because, I don't follow the in-depthness in terms of the relationships and locker room drama of the NBA as much as the two of you do. But as much as, you talk about
drama.
What?
We like drama.
But my point was, despite the drama, Jaylen Brown was still the Celtics' best player. Jaylen Brown still did lead the Celtics to an NBA championship a couple of years ago. So, maybe my gripe is with the National Basketball Association and this salaries must match rule that they have in place that I don't see.
I don't think this was a financial decision.
No, this definitely was not.
Right? No.
Right.
I mean, my point is, one, I understand the frustration of maybe somebody is a head case, but at the same time, you look at what they, got for him. I agree. I don't think Paul George and Tatum combo is going to do enough for what a Brown Tatum did, or even Brown did on his own. And secondly, the fact that you trade him to a divisional rival, it doesn't matter if the money must match rule or not came into play. In any sort of sport, it is rare to see. And in any sort of sport, people, if you saw a trade like this go down in Major League Baseball,
you wouldn't see a Yankees-Red Sox trade. You wouldn't see a Yankees.
You
trade.
do see it sometimes, but
it's rare.
Babe Ruth.
Right, but that's the point.
100 years ago.
No, but Nick D, that is the point. You see a trade like that, from 100 years ago, and it's like, that should serve as a precedent that you don't trade superstars with division rivals.
Well,
and yet here we see it with Boston and Philadelphia.
It's generally a bad idea, but also you trade, like I said before, you traded him for like nothing. Like it was a totally lopsided trade.
Well, wait a second. And I'm not blaming anybody for what I'm about to say, but I think everybody is focusing on the wrong thing about the trade being to a divisional rival. I get that. And I understand that's bad. But I don't think people are focusing enough on that the trade was 10 cents on the dollar and you got Paul George for Jaylen Brown.
Yeah.
And on top
of
that
makes a divisional rival thing double bad.
Right.
Yeah.
And I said this to Nick D. He made a face at me slightly on MTGP, but I think this makes them a play-in team without Jaylen Brown.
I think they might be.
And I think that because you really expect Paul George to replace the Jaylen Brown value that you had?
I would say if Tatum and PG-13 are the stars that they are, they probably make a top 6. But when you consider the health issues that both those guys have, you're probably right.
And what happens if they both get hurt together?
That's going to be the other. Well, that's what I talked about with the trade with Giannis to the Heat, and how the Heat gave up quite a bit of depth for him. If Giannis goes down and they don't have another guy there, that's going to be a problem. Now, that does lead me, because I want to make sure I get to this point before we go to the second hour. That does lead me to the other part of this conversation, and that's the Philadelphia portion here, because you've now got Joel Embiid being paired with Jaylen Brown, with the reports that maybe they try to get a third name, especially if it is LeBron James, considering James's remarks about potentially playing on some sort of league minimum kind of deal, and kind of giving us the flash in these headlines that maybe this actually is going to be LeBron's final season.
Wait, let me just one more thing on the Paul George point.
Yeah.
You know how many combined regular season games Paul George has played in the last 2 seasons?
I'm going to say like 80 or 90, maybe.
No, 78.
Well,
I was close.
78 regular season games in 2 seasons combined.
Yeah, the
That's
guy's
less than
a
half
injury.
season on average.
Yeah, the guy's an injury-prone mess,
and got
So-
suspended.
and he got suspended for PEDs.
Okay, but I guess going back to the Philadelphia, my point was, like I said during the whole lead into this angle here, you've got the two stars now being paired together with them trying to find a third, kind of 1B or 2 to fit with this, with those two to make some sort of trio. I really don't know. I don't know. Nick D, does this put Philadelphia kind of in a winning position? Do they need some sort of third name like a LeBron? Or even if they get somebody like LeBron, is that not going to be enough compared to what else you see in the East right now?
I think it puts them in a huge. I wouldn't necessarily say it makes them the team to beat in the East, but it is where I'm looking at the odds right now for conference winner, and the Sixers.
That's a big help. Thank you.
And the Sixers are third at plus 750. I don't know what it was before, but they were probably like 7 or 8 if I were to take a guess.
And that's just for conference?
To win the conference, with just Eastern Conference winner behind the Knicks.
Who are the top two?
Knicks and Celtics.
See, but I feel like now the Celtics would have to drop.
Well,
The Celtics have to drop.
They probably did drop. The Celtics were probably favored. They were probably favored above the Knicks to win the conference. So I'm sure they did drop.
Like that's the thing. Even with, considering even Embiid's health issues and considering right now they don't have a third person in Philadelphia, I would put Philly within top 3, top 4. Even with the Knicks losing Mitchell Robinson to Boston and them signing Andre Drummond, I still might favor the Knicks over the Celtics.
So,
I mean, I don't even really
Sixers
think
right now.
the Knicks losing Robinson and then signing Drummond hurt them that much.
Right.
I think the Celtics overpaid big time for Mitchell Robinson. He's not worth $15 million a year.
If you can at least keep your other names healthy in New York and just have Drummond focused on grabbing boards, I think the Knicks can be fine.
So I looked up the conference winners on DraftKings. So the Knicks are plus 320 for conference winners. Celtics plus 450. 76ers plus 750.
Well, the Atlantic Division is going to be the division to watch in basketball this coming season.
If LeBron, and this is a big if, because who the hell knows where LeBron's going to end up at this point. If he ends up in LeBron, they are not just a conference favorite, they are a championship favorite if LeBron ends up in Philadelphia. When you look at that lineup, so you would have LeBron, Embiid, Maxey, Hedgecombe, who they just drafted, who had an incredible rookie year. You're not beating that lineup if that's the case.
Yeah.
So now, just one more point from before on the Celtics side. Why didn't the Celtics call up Denver and say we want Jamal Murray, and we'll swap Jaylen Brown and a few picks to make up for the back end of it? At least with Jamal Murray, you get a sensible, valuable player in that regard in return.
Yeah, you would think that they would have done that.
I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like, Denver could have had some sort of role within a trade like this. You talk about potential options with Giannis and Jaylen Brown and some of these other names that have been thrown out there in trades of late. You'd think maybe Denver could have been involved in one of these.
Yeah, but before we continue that, quick break here. Step into the cage every Monday night with Tom Albano. Fight IQ breaks down the world of combat sports with the precision of a championship game plan. From analyzing ground control at PFL events to breaking down the technical mastery of the world's best strikers, we cover the technique, the drama, and the business of the fight game. If you want to understand the IQ behind the world's most dangerous athletes, Tom has you covered every Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, only on the Empty the Bench Network. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/ETB Network, to find out more. And big week for the UFC.
Big week. It's Conor McGregor fight week. It's international fight week. It's UFC 329. We'll have our normal show tomorrow night. Zan and I are on Tough Enough on Wednesday. And then we've got a big special edition of Puncher's Chance this coming Saturday. We're still trying to work out the details, maybe a 2 p.m. Eastern start. Obviously, we'll have the post show. And then next week, special fight IQ on Sunday morning instead of Monday because I'm going on vacation from the network for a few days.
Yeah, this is like this has been a weird time. Like everyone on the network is like been going on vacation, so I'm like rotating everybody like shares on the Titanic right now currently, and that's what I get when we're in the summer right before the NFL season comes back. So bear
If
with
there's
me.
any time for us to go on vacation, it's right now.
Yeah.
Probably.
I mean, I just got back from Atlantic City.
I could use a vacation.
I don't know if that. I mean, I went for a night. I don't know if it's much of a vacation.
Anyways, all right, guys, let's move off of all the drama on the pitch and all the drama on the court. Let's go to the baseball field. And we're going to start things with a massive brawl that went down, that was brewing for some time, and then went down between the Red Sox and the Nationals. Now, tension had been simmering throughout the weekend series, and it finally boiled over into a full-scale bench-clearing brawl between Washington and Boston. Now, part of this actually stems a little bit. Some stuff was early boiling during the Red Sox-Yankees series that recently happened. Red Sox first baseman Wilson Contreras and his team had a dugout clearing confrontation during a recent series with the Yanks. The teams had emptied their benches. Thank you very much. After Will Warren tossed one high and inside to Contreras, but nothing came of that. You had some harsh words, and that was pretty much the much of it. However, then during the Red Sox National Series, first baseman Wilson Contreras was struck out by Nationals pitcher Cade Cavalli, and Cavalli celebrated and turned his attention to Contreras, and Cavalli yelled out, "Sit down, boy." And this prompted Contreras to exchange words with Cavalli. Both punches cleared. Contreras needed to be held back. Ejections, suspensions. I believe Cavalli and Contreras were each suspended 7 games. Absolutely volatile in terms of baseball altercations for this season. And obviously, this is going to impact both teams heading into the break. Now, Boston kind of on the outs of it already. The Nationals are a few games behind the last wild card spot in an NL wild card race that right now is very, very crowded. Very crowded with teams. So I guess to start things off, Nick Morgeson, were the league suspensions fair, or did MLB overreact to old school baseball players policing themselves?
Oh, Major League Baseball overreacting to something? Gee, what a shock. I mean, this wasn't Yankees Red Sox, for crying out loud. It wasn't that type of brawl, even though the Yankees and Red Sox did have a small little dust up in their last series at Fenway Park, which they got completely embarrassed and swept. But you know what? It's not a full-fledged brawl didn't break out. Like when you're getting 7 games, that means like you beat the shit out of somebody on the field and like you bloodied them up. Like if you remember in the Yankee Red Sox brawl, what was it? Tanyan Sturtz had like a full bloody face.
I remember. It was Sturtz.
And that was Schilling and Trot Nixon. Yes, I'm going way back in the Wayback Machine here.
Hey, those were the good old days, the 90s and 2000s Yankees Red Sox rivalry.
That was back when baseball actually mattered. Anyway, but I think we overreacted a little bit here. But Rob Manfred is notoriously known for overreacting to everything. So tell me what's not par for the course here.
Nick DiMartino, what do you make? Well, now Nick Morgeson, you mentioned about the overreaction. However, another angle to the story that I'm going to ask Nick DiMartino about is social media outcry, because there was a lot of outcry against Cade Cavalli with the usage of the phrase "sit down, boy," and feel that his punishment should have been worse. Now, Cavalli has claimed that he was unaware of the racial undertones of the context in which he used the word boy. The Red Sox, however, have been completely up in arms about Cavalli from the minute the incident happened and called out the Nationals and their young pitcher for racism. Should there have been a harsher punishment more than 7 games for Cavalli?
I mean, no. I mean, look, I think Cavalli was being a total dick. I mean, it was just like it looks like Wilson Contreras thought it was a ball and was walking to first base, and they told him to sit down. I don't like it. It was just unnecessarily gratuitous.
It was bad terminology. I think.
I don't necessarily think it was a racist term because that's a very kind of that's a very old thing. And Cade Cavalli is like, what, 28 years old? He might not even know about that. And Wilson Contreras is Venezuelan. He almost certainly doesn't know about it. That's a very American thing. I don't really think that was why he was pissed off. I think he was mad that he struck out and he was just being a dick. I think that's really all it was.
Well, Wilson Contreras is known for that. All the way back to when he was with Chicago with the Cubs. Like,
right. I don't really think, based on the context, that it was a racist comment because, like, it just that doesn't make sense to me. I just think he was just being degrading in general. I think that's really all it was.
I think it was just a bad moment, like you said. Like you said, he was probably pissed off. He struck out, and the cultural undertone, because that's what we pay attention to in sports more than the actual sports played on the field at times. Does it sound bad the way he said it? Yes, it does. But did you really expect Rob Manfred to fix that problem? No.
I just don't think that had anything to do. I really don't think that's why Wilson Contreras was pissed off. I don't really think that had anything to do with it.
Well,
He did start walking out towards the mound, though.
Yeah, but I don't think it's because he called him boy. I think it had more to do with like the fact. I think it was more like he told him to sit down. It probably had more to do with that. Than
now, if I can provide a little bit of context, I was going to ask this question as a third question, but obviously with Connor not here, I'll open this one to the both of you. Now, Contreras in the post game and after suspension, I believe, was handed out, did a sort of, I think it was a press conference or an interview. He was talking with the media at some point, seemed a little emotional and apologized and took accountability for what happened and said, it's been a tough week. Obviously, we talked about what had happened in the Yankees series. Some are speculating that the impacts that you're seeing in Venezuela also may have had an effect on him and his temperament at the moment. What do you make of that?
I'm having a hard time. So he's going to make excuses for why he said something a certain way.
I don't believe he said it directly. I think somebody has implied it. I don't know.
Okay, but that still doesn't sound good fully, that he's making excuses for what happened in Venezuela. Now, there's been a lot of distress that's been going on in Venezuela with the storms and destroyed a lot of lives and houses. I'm not let me be very clear. That is a horrible situation going on in Venezuela. But he's claiming ignorance and for not knowing what it means.
Cavalli,
yes.
Are we talking about Contreras or Cavalli?
Yeah,
he's talking about Contreras.
I'm talking about Contreras.
Oh, sorry, but I'm for Contreras' standpoint. I don't know. He's a little bit of a hothead. I feel like.
So here's the Contreras statement. He said, and this is him speaking, but obviously it's being translated through an interpreter.
Yeah.
One thing that I want to add on the record for you guys is just an apology for all the events from the last week in reference to the Yankee series with Will Warren and the National series with Cade Cavalli. All the things that occurred with the Nationals are things that were very hard and a very emotional time for me. This is coming from MLB.com itself. The apology comes during an already difficult stretch for the Venezuelan first baseman, whose home country is currently dealing with the aftermath of devastating earthquakes. Just one day before Tuesday's altercation with Nationals pitcher Cade Cavalli, Contreras spoke about the difficulty of playing with while his native country was ravaged by a disaster, noting that the stress of the situation left him struggling to manage his emotions on the field. Now, I should clarify, all four parties who have been suspended, that's Contreras, that is Nate Eden, that is Cade Cavalli, and fourth. All of them have appealed their suspension, so all of them are still currently playing. And obviously, if we know the Major League Baseball Players Association, that's going to get dinged down quite a bit.
All right, so it was Wilson Contreras 7 games, Cade Cavalli 7 games, Miles Mikolas 5
Guy's
games.
Still around?
Yeah, I remember when he was pitching in Colorado and St. Louis, and Nate Eaton got 3 games. I don't know. Is it insensitive? Yes, it's a little insensitive what he said, but is it enough to lead to a full benches clearing brawl? No, it shouldn't have.
No.
But
No, I think it's because I agree completely.
I think we're grasping at straws a little bit.
I will say I think this story, I don't know if blown out of the portion is the right word, but I think eventually after the All-Star break and after the appeals go in and everybody's suspension inevitably gets knocked down, I think this story is going to be quickly forgotten.
If you want to talk about that players are a little on edge because they don't know if they're playing next year, I would buy that more than I would buy like the unfortunate situation in Venezuela or
Yeah, I don't really buy that.
like these players have no idea if they're going to be playing baseball next year. So why would you do all this stuff? I don't know.
All right. Going off of that, since we're talking about the fact that the All-Star break is coming up, well, yes, last night the All-Star rosters did get revealed. And that, of course, is always going to spark immediate debate across the baseball landscape. We have the fan-voted starters that were locked in. Plus, we have the pitcher and reserve selections. However, no starting pitchers have been announced. I mean, the starters, the players who made in as starters have been announced. We just don't know who is going to start for each side just yet. So I'll quickly read off the rosters if you guys want me to.
I have it in front of me, too.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for the American League, your fan-voted in starters are Shea Langeliers, Nick Kurtz, both from the Athletics, Ernie Clement at second from Toronto, Junior Caminero from Tampa Bay, Bobby Witt Jr. from Kansas City. Your outfielders are Mike Trout, Byron Buxton, and Aaron Judge. And your lead American League vote getter, designated hitter Yordan Alvarez from Houston. Yes, he actually got more votes than Judge, if I'm not mistaken.
I mean, Judge is injured, though. It kind of makes sense.
Right, Judge is not going to play because of injury. Also, as a note, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. was elected as the AL starting first baseman, but has it already announced he will not play in the game as he's just coming back from back injury. Let's see. Your American League reserves, you got Dylan Dangler, Adley Rutschman, Travis Bazana, Kevin McGonigal, Ben Rice, Miguel Vargas, Randy Arozarena, Cody Bellinger, Riley Green, Yandy Diaz. Your pitching crew is going to be Dylan Cease, Parker Messick, Drew Rasmussen, Joe Ryan, Cam Schlittler, Ranger Suarez, and Michael Wacha. Michael Wacha in an all-star game in 2026. Can you believe it?
I haven't heard that name in a while.
Yeah, really.
Brian Baker, Aroldis Chapman, Jacob Latz, Kate Smith, and Lewis Varland on the relief side. Your National League team, your fan vote elected starters. You got Drake Baldwin of Atlanta and catcher Freddie Freeman at first from the Dodgers. Ozzie Albies from the Atlanta Braves at second. Max Muncy from the Dodgers at third. C.J. Abrams from the Nationals at short. Your outfield will be Juan Soto from the Mets. Andy Pages from the Dodgers. Brandon Marsh from the Phillies. Pages, pardon me. And then
that's all
your
I contribute to this conversation. Correcting your pronunciation.
And your starting designated hitter from the National League, the top vote getter in Major League Baseball. Surprise, surprise, Shohei Ohtani.
Color me shocked.
Your reserves from the National League. Catcher William Contreras of Milwaukee. Catcher Hunter Goodman of Colorado. Luis Ariz, Bryce Harper, Otto Lopez, Matt Olson, Sal Stewart, Corbin Carroll, Pete Crow Armstrong, Jordan Walker, James Wood, Kyle Schwarber. And your NL pitching staff. Chase Burns, Max Mayer, the Miz himself, Eduardo Rodriguez, Chris Sale, Chris Sanchez, Paul Skeens, Logan Webb, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, Johan Duran, Raisel Iglesias, and Mason Miller.
By the way, not to add to any irony, because I'm watching the soccer match, England got a red card.
Oh, yeah, England has received a red card. They are down to 10 players.
Well, what did they do? Did another guy cover his mouth?
Probably. I didn't see it, so I don't know.
No, it looks like a tackle from behind, I think.
Sure.
I missed it. I was reading off the rosters.
Yeah.
Let's see. So Mike Trout currently is also on the injured list.
Did he get voted in?
Yes, he did.
Wow.
But he's hoping. But Trout is hoping to return at some point this week and play in the game.
This goes to show that we need to take the voting out of the fans' hands.
All right. Well, we'll talk about that in just a second. But of course, you're talking about some all-star snubs. Bryce Terang of the Brewers did not make it in. Justin Robleski, another Dodger starting pitcher, did not make it in. Wilson Contreras, his brother William made it in, but Wilson Contreras, who's having a pretty decent season at first himself for the Red Sox, did not make it in. And Davis Martin of the Chicago White Sox did not make it in. Buster Only speculates the reason he did not make it in is because of that very great rule, that everyone seems to agree with, sarcasm, that all Major League Baseball teams have to have at least one representative in the All-Star game.
Talk about another rule I hate.
So just going off, I'm going to open this up to the both of you. Who is standing out as the biggest snub on this year's All-Star rosters?
That's a good question. I don't know.
He lists.
Who would you say it is?
Well, I'll go through a couple of names on this article from Buster Only. He lists Bryce Terang. He lists Justin Robleski. He lists Logan Webb.
Logan Webb has actually had a decent year.
Yeah, Logan Webb has had a decent year, and I'm shocked that. Oh no, wait, Logan Webb did make it in.
Or did he?
Okay. Logan Webb did make it in.
I don't see anything like the starting lineups look fine from what I'm. If you want to say it's very major market heavy, you could say that.
Probably. And the pitching staff for the American League, not a lot of guys with a lot of time on their resumes.
By the way, does it show you how crappy of a Mets organization it is that Juan Soto was the only All-Star?
Pretty much.
Yeah, when you're spending that much money.
God, they need to figure him out.
Yeah, see, he says for Davis Martin, the starting pitcher from the White Sox, only in his article says part of the problem was having to get somebody from every team. So
Did Sonny Gray make it?
I don't believe he did.
Because I was hearing that was the biggest snub.
Yeah, he did not. I'm continuing on with this part of the article. So the league selected Jacob Lotz to represent the Rangers, who is a reliever that's having a pretty good season, and Ranger Suarez for the Red Sox, who also had Aroldis Chapman selected. But the league also selected Michael Wacha.
By the way,
if you compare Michael Wacha and Martin's stats, Martin 9-3, 3.08 ERA, and 96 innings pitched, 90 strikeouts. Wacha's 5-5, 3.31 ERA, 108 innings pitched, 84 strikeouts.
But wait a minute, Sonny Gray 10-1, 2.61 ERA.
Yeah, that's another one.
82 strikeouts, a whip just over one.
That sounds like a snub.
That is a literal snub. Well, I don't know if it's because he's on a last place team in Boston, but like
right. And I think the thing with Wacha, pointing out the ERA, the innings pitched with the strikeouts and WAR, definitely. The 5-5, I think a lot of us have come to the agreement that in a modern day and age of Major League Baseball, stats for a pitcher, wins and losses don't mean as much as they did 20, 30 years ago.
I don't think wins, losses means that much for starting pitchers at all, honestly.
No, that's what I mean. Like, I'd say 20, 30 years ago, people looked at wins and losses of a starting pitcher. I feel like we have come to the reality it doesn't mean so much because you can't depend on the starting pitcher all the time for it.
England just scored.
Yep.
3-1 now.
Kane? Yeah, it was Kane. Harry Kane.
This game's over.
But let me get to the point that you were going to, Nick, because you think about the current format of the All-Star game where it seems like we have a popularity contest for the fans, involving the fans. Does the league need to adjust the selection process to ensure the best statistical players get in?
I understand it's a fan vote. I understand that you have major market teams that are going to control most of the share. I mean, heck, look at the National League lineup. 1, 2, 3. There's four of the starters in the starting lineup are Dodgers. Okay, that should tell you right away who's voting the most. It
also goes to show you how stacked of a roster the Dodgers have.
Yeah, but I think that's a problem. You shouldn't have 4 Dodgers in the starting lineup.
Right, but if they're all good enough to be Who
Okay,
are the 4 Dodgers?
that's the thing. It's like
It's
hey,
Ohtani, Yamamoto, Freddie Freeman, and who else?
No, I'm talking about in the position player in the starting lineup. So Shohei,
Pages.
Freddie Freeman, Max Muncy, and Pages. Yeah.
But I mean, if they're all having good enough years, like it's not their fault that they're
But some of these guys clearly got in because they got fan voted, not because they're having the greatest year.
I mean, they're having great years. Freddie Freeman's hitting 297 and 15 home runs.
No.
I think
the Dodgers
the
Is
issue.
that not
I think
All-Star game worthy?
Well, I think the issue with fan voting isn't so much in the regards to major market. It's more in regards to the fact that Mike Trout is hurt but got elected in. Aaron Judge is hurt, got elected in.
I agree with that. I mean,
Yeah, I don't think fans should ever vote for All-Star games. I think it's
I
stupid.
agree.
When I was 10 years old, I would vote for the All-Star game, and I would vote for all the Mets.
well,
Right.
remember, what was the rule? Every person has 25 votes to vote. If you remember that,
You make a roster.
You can make a roster literally out of your vote.
Well, yeah, like I would vote for like Mike Cameron to be in the All-Star game or something like that. Like it was ridiculous.
But let's look at the rest of the lineup because this tells you that there's fan voting. Shea Langoliers and Nick Kurtz are on horrible teams in for the Athletics, and they're starters in the starting lineup. Who else? Brian Buxton. I don't think the Twins are a great team this year.
Meanwhile, they just kicked the Yankees' ass.
And Juan Soto, the only reason he's in is because he's a Met and he's in a major market team. So if Juan Soto was on a mid-level team, would he have gotten in? I wouldn't say in the starting lineup would have gotten in, but I don't know. We got to take the voting out of the fans' hands in this situation and put the guys in that are having a great year. And I think the rule is also, Tom, if I'm not mistaken, even if you're injured, you have to show up to All-Star Weekend now. Like it's mandatory. You have to sit in the
I
dugout.
don't know about that.
Because they didn't want guys snubbing the All-Star game.
Which is fair. And by the way, I will add, as much as Bryce Harper might not be the Bryce Harper of 10 years ago, I'm still glad that Bryce Harper actually did make it in because I think Bryce Harper is an excellent example in the modern day MLB of transitioning from one position to another in a later stage of your career and still performing in pretty excellent fashion.
So the rule is players selected to the All-Star game are required to attend the All-Star game and festivities as an eligible participant, even if they are injured with specific expectations.
All right. Well, let me get to the other points, and I'll go to Nick D for this one. With somebody like Vladimir Guerrero Jr. already withdrawing from this year's game, how can we, if we can, incentivize players to take part in the exhibition? And can we ever get All-Star games in MLB to match the kind of fun that they were like from when we were younger?
No. I feel like there's no way you can because of the landscape of sports nowadays. But this isn't the reason I say you can't is because it's not just true of baseball. It's also true of football and basketball. And I think the same thing is true in baseball, which is I just don't think people care as much about the All-Star game because it's seen more as an exhibition. What you have to remember is part of the reason that the All-Star game used to be so popular is because there was no interleague play. That's one of the reasons in like the 70s, the All-Star game was so big. Now there's so much interleague play. You see these guys play each other all the time.
Well, every team plays every team now.
Even when we were younger, interleague play was limited to your hometown rival and one division in 1 year.
Right.
And you only
there was
play
less interleague play.
Well,
Right.
if you remember, do you remember when Barry Bonds came with the Giants to Yankee Stadium for the first
everyone
time?
came out for that because it was so rare.
When he hit that home run I think it was in like the upper deck where no one was sitting. Like that was unheard of because how often it was rare to see Barry Bonds and the Giants at Yankee Stadium.
Right, because of the way the divisions rotated and the home away rotated and everything you only saw the Giants at Yankee Stadium once every 6 years.
But what was it? So it was like May and June was considered like the interleague part of the schedule, if I remember correctly. And then when that went away, And now that every team plays everybody, like that kind of destroyed the All-Star game because now everybody plays
there
everybody.
is a uniqueness. Like I get why MLB has transitioned to be like the other sports leagues, but there was a uniqueness to the two separate leagues and rare interleague play that I kind of appreciated and made it cool when I was younger. I don't know how you guys feel.
Yeah, I think so too. Don't get me wrong. I think that was really cool. Like I used to love the All-Star game. I used to love the All-Star game 20 years ago. But
when it had value.
Right. But the thing is, you also like at the time, like I said, there was a lot less interleague play. So when seeing a bunch of stars play each other that otherwise wouldn't play each other, it was a unique thing. Part of me thinks the other reason is that the AL and the NL, like say 15, 20 years ago, seemed so much more diametrically opposed and separate.
That's what I'm saying. It's part of how
the AL and NL now are more comparable to the AFC and NFC in football.
Well, that's what I said. Being like other leagues.
Yeah, but 15, 20 years ago, the AL and NL were viewed as totally different leagues. I mean, they didn't even have the same set of rules. So a battle between the AL and NL, I think, got fans a lot more excited. They were very tribal, rooting for because I remember I used to always root for the NL whenever they played the AL, and I still do, but I don't care that much anymore. Like it's just different now.
Well, now that they all play the entire year, when you have AL NL matchups the entire year, it doesn't matter.
Well,
but you know what? I also think the way we view sports now is different. I mean, it's not just in baseball. I mean, if you look at 20 years ago, even longer ago than that, about a year ago or so, or earlier, about a year ago or so, there was a picture going around, viral picture of Michael Jordan in the All-Star game, icing his knees when he was on his last legs. And back then, people cared a lot more about All-Star games in general. Now we live in an era of load management and just trying to win it all. People are more competitive. People don't want to be bothered. Fans don't want to be bothered with exhibition games as much as they used to.
Well, I was going to bring up the question. Is it the players don't want to be bothered, or is it some pressure from front offices to these players of, hey, I don't want you participating in this because I don't want to risk injury because we pay all this money on it.
I think that's
every sport.
I think that's definitely a thing in basketball. In football, the problem with the Pro Bowl is that football, if it's not played 100%, is unwatchable. That's one of the biggest issues in football.
Mexico goal 3-2.
Yeah.
Good. What were you going to say?
I said Mexico goal. It's 3-2.
No, I was talking about Nick.
No, I was pointing to that. But you know what? I think if you look at all sports now, like the NBA, it's even worse because when you look at the All-Star game, it's like how many threes can each side shoot because they're not going to play defense in the freaking game anymore. How many dunks are we? Because no one plays defense because they don't want to get hurt. Tom made the point.
Right. Well, that's all, and it brings up a really interesting thing when you've got, not just for Major League Baseball, but for all sports, a commissioner's office and a league front office in terms of the organization itself, MLB, NFL, who want strong ratings and want stars in their all-star games and want all this fun with the all-star versus league owners and general managers team owners and general managers who won't want anything part of it. It's kind of a weird clash of the people who are running the ships.
You know what, though, and I've said this for the last year or two, I think we should remove all-star games from all sports. And the reason I say it is, one, they're not fun anymore. There's no interest. The guys don't even try when they go to the all-star festivities. The dunk contest was the thing I watched for years. Now you can't get one freaking all-star to compete. I think the NBA will always be a massive failure because they couldn't get LeBron to compete in the dunk contest. Always, because the ratings would have been sky high. Michael Jordan competed in multiple dunk contests, and the ratings were at a sky high. LeBron refused, and I think that hurt the sport when it came to the festivities.
Well, I'm going to be very interested to see what's going to happen in the next coming years when you've got the MLB lockout looming, and now with the NFL, NBA, and NHL, all their players being allowed to participate in Olympic Games, if the pressure is going to be on Major League Baseball to maybe, to what you're saying, Nick, maybe abandon the All-Star game in an Olympic year in order to allow for the MLB players to play in the Olympics.
I think teams would benefit from a week off rather than the All-Star festivities. In every sport, they would benefit because then it allows them to recover and get ready for the second half of the season.
One of the biggest issues, certainly in baseball with the home run derby, is that it allegedly messes up your swing.
Oh, I'm so tired of that.
And I don't know if it's true or not, but there have been some cases where a player's hitting is just on a roll, and then they participate in the home run derby, and their average just goes to shit. I mean, it happened to Aaron Judge in 2017.
So it has nothing to do
look
with
at Cal Raleigh. He has had a miserable year.
Yeah, but that's been all year. He's just having
that's not a home run derby thing.
I know, but I'm saying
for Cal.
No, but I'm saying for Cal.
It happened with Aaron Judge. It absolutely did. It's not necessarily because of the home run derby, but I can understand why fans would be like, "Ooh, well, he did the home run derby, and then his numbers went to shit right after."
Yeah, but what about having like a week off and not playing consistent
Here would
games?
be my question.
That could be the case too.
Wait, hold on. Here's my question. Playing stakeholders and devil's advocates. For what about all these providers who pay for MLB rights? What did they now have to fill stuff in?
Well, the thing is, they're not getting rid of these all-star festivities. They can change it, but they're not getting rid of it. There's no point in discussing it. They're never just like the NBA and MLB are not going to reduce the number of games they play. They're not going to reduce anything. The only thing they might do is change the way it's structured, and that's all they might do.
They need more days off in between. That's what they need.
Fair. I mean, and the thing is,
maybe stuff like skill showcases. Can you do skill showcases for baseball?
Maybe.
We do. We have the home run derby. Isn't that a skill showcase?
It's one, but you could do fielding, pitching stuff too.
How do you have a fielding showcase?
Wait a minute. Is the home run derby really a skill, or is it just I'm smashing balls over the wall?
I mean, it's the baseball equivalent of a dunk contest.
Well, I agree with you on that too. Like, is there really much
skills competition? It's not a game. By definition, it's a skills competition. What else would it be?
Well, I'm just going to throw stuff at the wall and see if it's, if we're talking about, stuff to fill the void, not just in these all-star festivities, do you ask the minor leagues to move all their stuff and you showcase minor league baseball and their games for a week?
I don't. Well, I mean, you could if on the notion of if networks need programming.
One day you do the futures game. One day you do the AAA All-Star game. One day you do AA.
You could do that. I mean, if you're that big a baseball
then
fan,
you show the New Jersey Jackals.
I don't know. I think the players would benefit from a week off. Like, think about now. I don't think the NFL does it right by any means because it's after the season when 99% of the players can give two shits. They just want a free vacation to Hawaii at that point to show up. I think that they need to figure out something. Whether I think they should just remove the game because these guys clearly don't care. Look at what the networks mic these guys up to make the game. They try to make the game interesting. Do you really think I want to hear a guy mic'd up on the field? Do you really think I care?
I think you might.
How does that make the game more entertaining?
Humanizes the athlete.
Yeah.
I get it.
How often are players aren't mic'd up live during games any other time, really?
That's not true. Well,
in the NFL they are sometimes, right?
The NBA, there's always someone mic'd up during the game.
ESPN's MLB telecast, they do.
But I find it weird that during the broadcast, they're literally talking to somebody on the field while the game is going on. That's not a game at that point. That's like a commentary that's going on in the middle of a broadcast. I don't know.
I think that of all the leagues, though, baseball is in the best position when it comes to all-star games. I think it's probably the best of all of them because baseball is such an individualized sport. It's not to the point I just don't think the all-star game in baseball is unwatchable in the same way that it is in basketball.
And I'll agree with Nick D on this to something that you said before, Nick Morrison, about how the stars, even if they're injured and don't play, they're still there at the all-star festivities. It's not like the NBA where they can completely turn it down and then just not show up.
Well,
you have a gathering of the sport's legitimate biggest stars in one area.
I mean, the one thing I will say for the home run derby, like it's cool when all of them are sitting on the first base and third base line and they're watching the home run derby. Now, what I will say about the baseball All-Star game is that you can't really like dog it in a baseball game. It's a lot harder. In an NBA game, you can lollygag up the court and shoot threes and not try defensively. For a baseball
You see
game,
that in the regular season too.
no, right.
Especially when Terry Rozier plays.
Well, that's a whole different issue. But in Major League Baseball, you have to field the ball. You have to make outs.
Yeah.
Like you can't just. Well, I guess you could just not field the ball.
The other thing you have to consider is that in baseball, when you put in the guys that are not traditional all-stars, that are not starters, a lot of them are going to want to try because they have their chance. Whereas when you look at stars, it's like if you look at, say, Giannis in the All-Star game, is he really going to care that much about that? Like it's just an exhibition game to him. But if you put in a player in the All-Star game that normally would not be an All-Star, I mean, I think that might be different.
I guess we'll have to wait and find out to see what they do.
All right. Sorry about that, guys. Now, let's go off of MLB. We have about 20 minutes left on the broadcast. Let's do some quick hits. Let's go over to the court, not the basketball court. Let's go over to a different court. Let's go to the tennis court and talk about Wimbledon and a pretty disappointing end for not just Serena Williams, but also the Williams sisters in general, because the tournament landscape at Wimbledon got upended after an early round exit for Serena, knocked out in an early round matchup, during which she reportedly suffered a knee injury, and the Williams sisters, as a result, have been forced to withdraw from doubles competition, bringing the Williams sisters' journey in Wimbledon, their comeback, to a complete end. This is quite a bit of a back bracket disruption in terms of both the singles and doubles competitions, and as I said, can't say enough again, a disappointing end to probably the most interesting story about Wimbledon, the comeback that these two were having. So, Nick Morgeson, you're an avid tennis watcher, probably one of the most avid tennis watchers of everyone here.
We both are.
What?
We both are.
But
yeah, he is also. Yeah, but
both of you are two of the more avid tennis watchers, probably the most avid tennis watchers here.
It's the only sport that I actually watch that I don't have to watch. If that makes
true.
sense.
I can agree with that too.
So I guess my question is, at this point where we are with Wimbledon, who are the favorites, and particularly on the women's side, especially now after the Williams sisters' withdrawal from the competition?
To win the tournament?
To win the tournaments, yeah.
Well, it's interesting because Sabalenka, the one seed, got eliminated earlier today.
I remember you going off in group chat about that.
Yeah, by Osaka, which I've had my opinions about Naomi Osaka before, who, to be honest, I wish every tournament would not allow her to compete anymore. But you know what? The Williams sisters thing, I feel like, was a PR stunt a little bit. Because Serena had come out and said the only reason that she came back to compete, well, there's two reasons. Well, there was two reasons. One, her daughter, and the other one, she said, "Oh, I got bored sitting at home, so I decided to compete at Wimbledon."
That's fascinating to me. It's like, do you find nothing to do with your time?
She, first of all, she runs a shitload of businesses.
Well,
like,
you know what it is?
And sometimes it's the athlete's struggle. It's the athlete.
Yeah, I was just going to say that I think that professional athletes spend so much time in their sports that they don't know what to do with their time after they retire, which is frankly a good problem to have.
I brought that up recently.
You could start a podcast.
I brought that
People
up.
would listen to that.
Go ahead, Tom.
No, I brought that up recently with Dustin Poirier.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Fighter who was arrested, and he's talked about some of the reason of his addiction is a struggle that he's had since retiring.
Yeah, but the funny part is he works with the UFC.
Right, but it's different being, and this is actually going to what Nick D just said about start a podcast. It's different when you are behind a desk talking about your playing days versus actually playing.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, the whole Williams sisters thing, well, and I don't like what Wimbledon did either. They pushed back their doubles schedule to see if they could get Serena healthy. I've never heard that ever, a doubles match being rescheduled while the tournament is already ongoing. Now, the reason she had to pull out is because they had to take a syringe 5 times and pull liquid out of Serena's knee.
Oh,
So that was the problem. There was what's the word I'm looking for? In the knee. What are they? No, well, yes, but I can't think of the word at the moment. It's slipping me. But her knee was troubling, and she was just. I was surprised she got a wild card, which means because she's Serena Williams, they allowed her in the tournament. She was not ready. She didn't have enough points. Whatever. But I knew she was not. She was never winning Wimbledon. Let's get that very clear. There were so many better players right now currently than her. I would even take Coco Gauff over Serena Williams right now. Coco Gauff is having a great year.
But yeah, that's true. Although it would have been a pretty big story, even if she had just won a couple of matches.
Yes, and I'm not debating. That's totally true because Serena Williams will always be the number 1 American in everybody's hearts for tennis.
And maybe it's because I'm not into the tennis scene as much as the two of you, but it feels like, I don't know, we don't see the tennis stars at the level of like when the Williams sisters and Federer and Nadal.
I would say it's more internationally. There's more stars right now. But the U.S. has gotten better. I mean, like I said, Coco Gauff, and I'm forgetting the other, Madison Keys, who's had an incredible year. So far, she won the Australian Open or the French Open. I can't remember which.
There's a lot more star power on the women's side than on the men's side when it comes to Americans, I mean.
Yeah, I would say that's fair. I would say
about
that's
just
fair.
overall star power?
No, I would say probably more on the men's side, if anything. I think Sinner and Alcaraz even Djokovic are probably more relevant than the top women's players.
Well, Alcaraz that's a major injury. Like he's been out with the wrist injury, so he hasn't been playing.
I know he hasn't been playing. I'm just saying if you look at just in general,
yes,
the star power.
I would say Alcaraz, Djokovic. Trying to think off the top of my head even more. Who's the U.S. guy that went down yesterday?
Tiafoe.
I happen to like Tiafoe, even though he's a little bit of a hothead.
I like Tiafoe, but he's such a choker.
Well, that no pun intended.
What?
But no, because of Djokovic's nickname.
Choker. Oh no, but he's a choker. He really does choke a lot.
He does choke, and he could have won that match yesterday, but he played someone who was higher in seeding than he was, even though seeding doesn't really mean much once you get into the tournament.
It means something, but
I would say that the women in the U.S. side are much better than the men are right now. I would say there's just
always
more.
Kind of been like that, though.
Well, the U.S. was struggling, period, for like 5 to 7 years. They couldn't get any U.S. majors.
Well, if you think about it, we'll think about this though. Girls growing up in the United States don't have as many options as guys do when it comes to playing sports. So fewer guys end up playing tennis than girls, based on proportion. I mean,
I'm just looking at some of the names. So Jessica Pegula, who went out early. Amanda Anisimova lost to Madison Keys. Coco Gauff, who was the U.S. Open champion. And then Emma Navarro, who went out. I'm trying to see if there's anybody else. No, but then also you lost the one of the top seeds in Iga Swiatek, also who went out via upset. So you lost Sabalenka and you lost Swiatek, who were the 2 top tennis seeds. So there's going to be an upset winner on both sides.
Well, do you have any? Can you guess who the favorite is to win Wimbledon on the women's side?
Based right this moment?
Yeah, right now, the current favorite.
Maybe Goff?
No.
I have no idea. Who do they have as the favorite?
Osaka.
Ugh.
She's the favorite to win it all.
That's just going
to... But she is the favorite to win it all.
Well, hopefully she can keep her mental health intact to finish the tournament.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying that's what DraftKings had. She's listed at plus 220. Jessica Pegula is at plus 400. So she's pretty far ahead.
I don't even know is Pegula still in the tournament?
Yes.
I thought she was eliminated.
She's
Okay.
at plus 400 to win the tournament.
Where was Anisimova on that list? Is she on that list?
No, she got knocked out. That's why.
Oh, I didn't know if you had the full odds for the tournament.
No. Just as it currently stands. That's why Osaka's the favorites. The favorite.
I mean, if she was 100% on her game and didn't have these issues, she probably would be the favorite right now too, like the full-on favorite in my head. But I if Goff can just continue to play well and Madison Keys can play well, I think one of those will win. I think.
I think Goff can win, but I'm just telling you where everybody's listed.
Okay. What else? Do we have anything else?
Right. Shout out, by the way, to the 250 people who have tuned in tonight.
Yes. Thank you.
Which is perfect for America's 250th anniversary.
Brilliant.
There we go.
All right. I hate to bring it to a somber tone as one of our last topics.
Before you do that, let me get the
another live readout. Sure.
Yeah. So when the lights go down, the deep dives begin. Join Callum McClurg for Callan's Cranium, airing Wednesday at midnight Eastern, 9 p.m. Pacific on Tuesday nights. This is a late night journey into the psychology, the strategy, and the fascinating oddities of the sports world. We explore the angles others miss and the stories that define the mental side of competition. If you're looking for a perspective that stays with you long after the final whistle, get inside the cranium every week, only on the Empty the Bench Network. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/ETB Network, to find out more.
All right. I hate that one of our last segments of this night is going to be a little something on the rougher and more sad end, but turning to the gridiron, sadly, former NFL star running back Chris Johnson has courageously gone public with his diagnosis of ALS. Sports community has immediately rallied around the legendary playmaker as he prepares to tackle this battle with same resilience he's shown throughout his iconic career. He came public with the disease very recently. He was diagnosed last year, and unfortunately, things have progressed already to the point where he is he's using a device in order to speak. Let me look back on, an incredible journey of CJ2K, who remains one of the most electric weapons in NFL history, famously becoming part of the elite 2,000-yard club during his legendary 2009 season with the Tennessee Titans. Spent 4 years at East Carolina University, 2004 to 2007. Was two-time first-team All-Conference USA. Ended up becoming the 24th pick. Yes, 24th pick in the 2008 NFL Draft. Was selected by the Titans. And, of course, as I mentioned, 2009, he absolutely explodes with one of the most legendary seasons that we've seen in a running back. 2006 rushing yards, 14 rushing touchdowns, adding in 2 receiving touchdowns and 503 receiving yards. Fantastic season. Became one of only, I want to say, 9 players, double checking. Becoming one of only 9 players to ever rush for 2,000 yards in a season. That 2009 year, he broke Marshall Falk's record of total yards from scrimmage with his total of 2,509, which got him his CJ2K nickname. His final career NFL stats, 9,651 rushing yards, 55 rushing touchdowns, adding in 307 catches for 2,255 receiving yards and 9 receiving touchdowns. When he was doing the NFL Combine right before he was drafted, he broke at the time the record for the 40-yard dash with a 4.24 in the 40-yard dash. First team All-Pro in 2009, was a 3-time Pro Bowler. Obviously led the league in rushing yards in 2009. Spent 2008 to 2013 with the Titans. Had a 1-year stint with the Jets in 2014, and then 3 injury-prone shortened seasons with the Arizona Cardinals between 2015 and 2017. So I'll start with Nick DiMartino. Your thoughts on CJ2K's diagnosis, his battle, and what he means in terms of an NFL legacy.
I mean, I was just heartbroken to find out that he was diagnosed with ALS. I mean, it was awful. It did it like you said, to the point where he can't even speak. I mean, this is a guy who rushed for. I mean, just think about this for a second. This is a guy who, for 6 years straight, had 1,000+ rushing yards, and now he needs a device to help him speak. Like just the level, like just the dichotomy of those things is just. I just can't imagine what he's going through, and what his family is going through.
No,
and nobody knew about this. Like this was just announced. Like, what was it, last week? Nobody
last week, but his diagnosis. He's been diagnosed for about a year or so.
It felt in a weird way. It felt very random. It felt random. Like who would have ever thought this?
It's sad, and like you said, this was a guy who, nobody has ever rushed as many yards from scrimmage in a season since him. His 2,509 yards from scrimmage still is an NFL record for a season.
Yeah, well, it's the seventh most all time.
Yeah, and actually, he's in the NFL record books in other ways. He's the only player in NFL history with a touchdown of 50 yards, 60 yards, and 90 yards all within one game. He's the only player in NFL history with 6 touchdown runs of over 80 yards. No other player has more than 4. He's only player in NFL history with 4 touchdown runs of over 85 yards. This was a guy who speed was his middle name.
Yeah, well, and we had the opportunity to see him in a Jet uniform too. I mean,
we did, yeah.
But you know what? And of course, like people are going to expect us to talk about, which we talked about on MTGP, about the whole thing. People made a controversy out of Michael Strahan for not asking the questions about did football do this to you? Now, the study is out there that when you're in the NFL, you're 4 times more likely to end up with ALS than the average person would be. And you know what? I think people need to take a chill pill slightly when it comes to, should Michael Strahan have asked a question like, let's put on the Big J journalism hat and let's make sure we ask every question there is, and let's embarrass the guy in the interview to make him feel bad.
Well, the thing is, when I think the Big J journalism, I don't think Michael Strahan. He's a personality figure. He's a TV show host, daytime host. He's not.
No, I agree. I'm saying that I think people are blowing this wide open, over proportion, saying that Michael Strahan should have asked him, did the NFL do this?
It was Jeff Pearlman who said that, and Dan Le Batard agreed. And you know how those guys are with the Big J journalism stuff.
Look, wait, time out. Good questions, not the right person.
Right.
Yeah.
No, because the reason I don't,
I know why they want Strahan to be the right person, because he's a former NFL star himself.
But it's the wrong time.
But he's not.
I agree.
But he's not. But Michael Strahan is not the definition of hard-hitting journalism.
But forget who the name is sitting there next to Chris Johnson and his wife. It shouldn't matter. The guy is revealing for the first time that he has ALS. And this is one of the hardest things to reveal in somebody's life. Hey, I can't lift my kids and do what I want to do anymore. I can't talk on my own volition.
If they are going to bring the Big J into it, if we talk about ethics, we talk about, the fact that the comfortability of your interview subject. And, like you said, if this is the first time coming out with the diagnosis and his first time showing, the difficulties that he has, the journey that he's gone through, maybe not the time and place. Maybe.
Here's the thing. There's a few things people need to consider. One of them is what Nick said, which is that he was there to make an announcement. It was not meant to be some hard-hitting interview. The other thing that people also have to consider is that, I don't know this for a fact, but in all likelihood, there was a lot of pre-approved questions that you can or can't ask.
Well,
in that environment, not to mention the fact Michael Strahan, they probably have a writer, a bunch of people, a whole team that write down questions for Michael Strahan to ask. I doubt he's written all these questions down himself.
Well, let me go one step further, because some people don't take this into account, and that's why I host a sports media show on here. But think about the situation. It was an interview on Good Morning America on ABC. ABC with Disney and ESPN, all part of the same company. You don't think
have a
who all have
new
an
relationship with the NFL, considering the ownership change.
correct. So you really think that Disney, the executives on the top of the corporate ladder, who know they have a huge deal, they have a Super Bowl coming up on ESPN and ABC this coming year. You really think they're going to jeopardize their relationship with the NFL and allow Michael Strahan, Good Morning America, to ask, is the NFL to blame for the ALS? There's no way that they're going to allow that question to be asked.
Here's the other point that people have to consider. Chris Johnson doesn't have the answer to that question anyway. He doesn't know why he got ALS. He doesn't know. I mean, he can attribute it, but none of us really even know the cause of ALS. It's not like he's a scientist who can kind of answer that question. He doesn't know.
No, you're 100% right. But unfortunately, in our media culture and our digital media society, everyone is looking for hot take culture and gotcha culture. I have to have the answer to the question.
I think part of it, okay, you're talking about, needing an answer. I think part of that also stems from human psychology, that we need to find an answer to everything. And unfortunately, there are just some things that we're never going to know an answer to.
First of all, we don't know how people get ALS. And on top of that, we don't have a cure for ALS. So there's no way to say how you got it, and there's no way to say how to cure it. So what is the point of asking a question that says, do you think the NFL is the reason you got ALS? There's no exact answer. It's not a black and white answer.
Yeah, I mean, look, and disparities between groups, broadly speaking, typically exist for very complicated reasons. I mean, so I just looked this up. Apparently, NFL players are nearly four times more likely to be diagnosed with and die from ALS compared to the general male population. And the career length matters. So the risk increases significantly with longer professional exposure. Former players diagnosed with ALS spent an average 7 years in the league compared to 4.5 for matched players.
Chris Johnson spent 10 in the NFL.
So I mean, I will say the data there is very alarming that exists. I don't know how much of it is correlation or causation, but I would find it a little hard to believe if there was nothing there that causes it.
And Nick Morgeson, like when we were studying together in the time that we had talked about, and then we were first starting the podcast journey, we had talked about and discovered the idea that, the average length of an NFL running back career is, we said 3 years, right?
3 years or less sometimes. Yeah.
And CJ2K spent 10 years in the NFL.
Well, yeah.
Well, you know what's a question, though, that I think is really relevant, which I don't know the answer to, is there a difference with different positions? Because every position in the NFL is so different. Like, if you're a kicker, you probably, it wouldn't surprise me if this doesn't affect them at all. Like, to what extent do positions affect this?
You're talking about like physical positions, depending on
running back is one of if not the toughest position in the NFL, considering what you put your body through.
It's the most physically assertive position, I feel like, on the
That's why
field.
Their careers don't last long. I mean, Chris Johnson's a Hall of Famer. He only played 10 years. So I think that's another question to ask. Like, what positions does this affect the most?
Why do you think they're not paying running backs? Why do you think Saquon struggled for a long time to get a deal?
But the other question I have is it maybe something that affects a small number of NFL players? Maybe they have a certain trait where if they play football and they get their head banged a bunch of times, that they are more likely to get ALS. But for most people, it's not really a problem. Like
Nick, by the way, Nick D, unfortunately, Chris Johnson is not an NFL Hall of Famer. He's not even a college football.
Well, he will be.
He's a Tennessee Sports Hall of Famer. You consider those NFL records.
Fine. A future Hall of Famer.
I was going to say, you consider those NFL records that he has, you have a case of maybe he should be a Hall of Famer.
Is he not? I'm sure he's a future Hall of Famer.
I mean, I'm curious because I'm just looking up his stats now, but all right. So he's got just under 10,000 yards. Yeah. He's at almost 9,700. He's got 55 touchdowns. I mean, he's going to be a Hall of Famer.
I don't know. He might, maybe he won't. Maybe I think of the Hall of Fame too much in basketball terms
maybe I would say, maybe this is a case of the Hall of Great, although Hall of Fame, You consider those records that he has. I think there's a case. I think there's a strong case.
I mean, 6 straight years of 1,000 plus. One of those years over 2,000. I mean, I think he's got to be considered for Hall of Fame.
I think that's Hall of Fame worthy, but maybe not.
I'm surprised. I'm surprised the Titans haven't done any. I don't think the Titans have done anything for him. I don't think he's in the Ring of Honor or retired number or anything.
But before we go, because we got to end the show, I think we do need to spend like 2 or 3 minutes on the whole Levitard Perlman thing and how they blew it out of proportion in such a big way to the point where all the goodwill I put on Levitard for the whole Carton situation, like he kind of blew it in the sense because they would say, oh, well, the interview was a failure because they didn't ask the tough football question. Like, I mean, Tom, I'm glad you're on this show because I'm curious.
Actually, we're going to pause right here. We're in the last minute of play, and we're about to see a corner kick by Mexico.
Is this game almost over? No, there's 11 minutes.
No, 11 minutes extra time, but it's 101 minutes left, 101-minute mark. Ball out of play, game over. Is that game over?
No, it's not. It's not over yet.
Oh, man.
I think it was 11 stoppage minutes from 96
from
minutes.
90. No, from 90, not 96.
This game is about to end.
It's going to be another corner kick.
But
it all comes
I
down
want
to
the show to end so I can watch this.
I wish playback was still around, man.
Well, they didn't have soccer, though.
Knocked out of bounds.
Oh, it's over.
The whistle. That's it. England has won. Mexico, two host nations are out in the round.
All right, at least England can win something.
So England's going to take on Norway in the quarterfinals Saturday in Miami.
And now tomorrow we see if the United States can, not be like their fellow co-hosts and not get knocked out in the round of 16.
I think it's an early game tomorrow too.
Yo. I don't know if you guys saw this, but Marcellus Wiley was arrested.
Oh, he got arrested for domestic violence.
This is news to me.
Oh, I saw it earlier today. They don't know why. It's just that he got arrested for domestic violence.
Well, domestic violence sounds like the reason.
No, but I'm saying they don't have the full story. Well, all right. TMZ has it. Let's see if we arrested for alleged domestic battery in Florida.
Of course, it's in Florida.
According to the jail records, Wiley was booked on July 4th on the charge of domestic battery. He's being held without bond.
Wow.
So it must have been that bad if that was the case. But you saw that there were rumors back in May that people were like 2 or 3 women were going after him for sexual assault allegations.
Yeah, in Colombia from 1994. Look, I don't know if that's true or not, but
I think there's a statute of limitations. I think it's something.
From more than 30 years ago, I don't think you can prosecute it.
Yeah, I don't think so. But just to finish the story, because we got off track, is I think Levitard and Perlman blew this one big time. I don't like Perlman. Nick knows I don't like Perlman.
Well, I think you don't like Perlman for personal reasons.
I think he tries way too hard to push the political rhetoric of journalism.
Yes, he absolutely does. That is 100% true.
And I wish, because his whole thing was, well, they didn't ask the question about football and ALS. Well, that wasn't the interview, man. Leave it alone. Don't stop.
And like I said, it's not like Chris Johnson knows the answer anyway.
Yeah, I don't know. And for Levitard to come out and say, oh, I'm putting my big J journalism hat on when he won't talk about Diana Rossini. Yeah,
he's the biggest fucking hypocrite. I lost so much respect for Dan Levitard in these past couple of months. It's unbelievable.
I don't know. It's one of those things where you just all right, just if you're not going to talk about Rossini, then don't be a hypocrite and say
exactly. He's allowed to not talk about Rossini, but then don't anoint yourself the moral arbiter of sports journalism. Enough of the bullshit then.
Yeah. All right. I think we should put the show to bed.
Yeah, but let's put everything to bed here. Obviously, wild day talking about all these different topics. But before we put the chairs on top of the tables and count up the register, I want to take a look at what we just witnessed over the last 2 hours. Tonight was a reminder that the lines between the playground, the front office, and the highest halls of global power are razor thin. We watched the pure, unfiltered chaos of a Sunday night where corporate boundaries and political clout collided head-on. We saw FIFA rip up its own rulebook under the looming shadow of international pressure to put Folarin Balogun back on the pitch, leaving Belgium in a state of absolute fury and proving that when the stakes are this high, the rules become entirely liquid. We watched the brutal math of the NBA's new financial landscape force a bitter divorce in Boston, shipping Jaylen Brown down the interstate to pair up with Joel Embiid and shatter the balance of power in the Eastern Conference overnight. We felt the sting of the Midsummer Classic snubs, the fallout of bad blood and flying fists in baseball, and a historic shockwave on the grass courts of London. But more than anything, we were reminded of the fragile humanity behind the armor as the entire sports world rallied in lockstep behind the legendary Chris Johnson and his courageous fight against ALS. It's easy to look at a night like this and see it just as a corporate board game, just luxury tax aprons, international red tape, and geopolitical leverage. But when the glasses are empty and the neon signs are humming in the dark, what's left isn't the contract metrics. It's the fact that no matter how messy the business gets, millions of us are still going to wake up tomorrow morning, sweat the betting lines, wear the colors, and care. We care because these stories belong to us just as much as they belong to them. Whether your team is trading away its anchor, fighting for its life in the round of 16, or battling something far bigger than a game, you've always got a seat right here. A massive thank you to Nick DiMartino for holding down the counter with me tonight, and to Nick Morganson for handling the heavy lifting on the panel. The one-man panel here. One-man show.
Big surprise here.
Callum McClurg will be back in the lead chair next week. But until then, keep the conversation rolling on our Substack and over on the YouTube channel. Make sure to follow us across social media at the ETB Lounge, at ETB Network. And you see our personal social medias here on the bottom of our little name tags. At Thomas J. Albano for me, at Nick DiMart for Nick DiMartino, at N. Morganson Radio for Nick Morganson. Stay humble in victory, stay resilient in defeat, and remember, the scoreboards are dark, the bar stools are inverted, but the lights in this lounge never truly fade out. Have a phenomenal Sunday night. Look out for another one, and we'll catch you right back here next time. And until then, where's the lock sound effect? The lounge is officially closed. For Nick Morganson, Nick DiMartino, and everybody here at the ETB Network, I'm Tom Albano. Good night from the ETB Lounge.
Good night, everybody.